Okay, now we're ready. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Mitil Simancas, and I am one of the co-chairs for the Arts and Culture Committee of the JCC. My other co-chair is here, Holly Levy. And we're missing one more, Linda Schechter, who couldn't be here tonight. So, no one should have to go hungry, especially in a world with as much wealth as ours. But the sad reality is that more than 821 million people are currently suffering from hunger. That's 1 in 9 people on Earth who do not have enough to eat. Hunger is a complex problem with many root causes, including poverty and climate change. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, but there are things that we can all do to help bring an end to world hunger and opportunities to create systemic change. While world hunger is a massive and complex problem, it's important to remember that each and every one of us can do something about it, whether through combating food waste, advocating for fair policies, or supporting non-for-profits. This is which are going to learn from all these wonderful people tonight. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, there are people in the world so hungry that God cannot appear to them except in the form of bread. So with that, I would like to introduce Wendy Yared. She is a food anthropologist who helps people understand where the food comes from. Her research examines the intersections between food, culture, and identity. Currently, she writes, hosts podcasts, consults, and invests in the future of food. You can follow her work and learn more at evolve.ag. Prior to starting evolve.ag, she worked at Google for 7 years in online education and learning experience design. So Wendy, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be here tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be up here on this panel, hosting the panel with all of these wonderful people. So hello everybody, and welcome to this JCC conversation about food insecurity in South Florida. We're here today to share some of the incredible work that these organizations are doing to help make a difference and help feed our friends in need. But before we begin, I just wanted to mention the art installation that you saw upon walking into the room tonight. It's by artist in residence Patti Grabel. Patti is most well known for her installations around spoons and the meaning and intention that can be infused into this simple utensil. She's dedicated and passionate about helping to fight hunger and donates proceeds of her work to agencies like City Harvest in her native New York City. Her work really resonates with the issues that we're going to be talking about tonight because spoons can be interpreted as a gentle reminder of how simple acts like cooking can really provide nourishment and love to loved ones, nourishment and support to loved ones. And spoons aren't merely a cooking utensil. They're actually the extension of your body and your energy into whatever it is you're stirring up. So with that said, I've asked Patti just to lead us in a short meditation tonight before we begin.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. And thank you all for being here. So first of all, yes, and I also am so grateful to be on this generous panel with who inherently know that feeding others is a gift and not a given, so thank you so much. We all have spoons in our hands this evening. The well of the spoon is inscribed with words: peace, love, joy, health, and hope. It's as an offering. Take a moment and think to yourselves what those words mean to you. Peace, love, joy, health, and hope. Now please extend your spoon. I want everyone to pick up their spoon and extend it. Notice that the spoon extends your hand, your heart, and your soul. If you place the spoon next to your heart at this very moment, you are actually feeding your soul, literally, metaphorically, and physically. The energy that you give is the energy that you receive. When we feed ourselves with good choices, as I mentioned, literally, figuratively, and spiritually, we can create change in our lives and those of others. This is the art of manifesting change, and this is an awakening consciousness. So I'd like to take this humble spoon and use it for a means of meditation. So I'd like you all to place your thumb in the well of the spoon. The well is an offering. Grasp the spoon with your other hand, okay, and hold it to your heart. I'd like you at this moment to close your eyes, okay? So everyone has their eyes closed. Okay, with your mind's eye, see the spoon as a vessel of opportunity to feed yourself with nourishment. At this moment, think about what is in your spoon and how lucky you are to be able to fill it. See it as positive energy and self-care. And then see it as a spoon that feeds others in the same light. This is an exchange of health and healing. Now take a deep breath. Create a story in your mind where you see family, friends, and loved ones sharing light, sharing energy and nourishment. Now extend that story beyond your reach to others, neighbors and strangers, giving them health and wellness. Deep breath. Envision the image of a blue sea, a green garden, a yellow sun. See joy, feel joy, be joy. Now you need to believe in your story. Believe what you saw and believe what you created in your mind. Deep breath. The last step of the meditation is I want you to own your story. I want you to be your story. See yourself as a seer, a creator, a believer. See yourself in the light and as a positive being. Open your eyes and now look again at your spoon. It's a vessel. Tonight is a collaboration of spoons everywhere that need to be filled with ourselves and others. We are all spoons in the universe, giving and receiving in one humble motion. That is the very essence of love, community, and the best part of humanity. To live on this planet as a collaborative, in a garden of good, with rich soil, seeds, and water, is the renewal of soul and spirit. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patti. That was beautiful.
Thank you for allowing me to share it.
I'm so glad you did it. That was great. Okay, so we have 4 incredible organizations that are all going to be talking about what they're doing in South Florida to help food insecurity here. And just to let everybody know, we're going to have a panel discussion, and then at the end we'll have time for Q&A. So if you have any burning questions, just hold on to those, and we'll get to those at the end. I'm going to start by introducing the panel. So first we have Rachel Komich from Buddy System MIA. Then we have Bonnie Schwartzbaum from the JCS Kosher Food Bank. And then Patti Grabel. And then Rachel Unger from Food Rescue US. And John Delgado from FarmShare. So I'd like to kick off. Oh, yeah, please. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I know the traffic was awful, and Miami Beach just getting crowded, more and more crowded, but everybody is here, so thanks again. I'd like to kick off the panel with everyone just introducing themselves and the organization that you represent. And if you could specifically say which communities you serve and about how many people you serve every year too, that would be really great information to share. You want to go ahead and start?
Me? Oh, okay. So with Buddy System MIA, we have 10 community fridges all around Miami-Dade. And we have a homebound food access program that serves clients all across Miami-Dade County. We don't have a specific area. And then for our community fridge program, we see about 75 people per fridge per week. So we estimate on a low end like 750 people a week. And then since our inception 3 years ago, we've seen about 300 clients go through our homebound food access program.
Hello. I represent the JCS Kosher Food Bank. We serve all of Miami-Dade County. Jewish Community Services actually has 3 meal programs. We have the Kosher Food Bank. We have meal sites where seniors can go and have a hot kosher lunch every day. And we have a Meals on Wheels program. So between all, we at the food bank, we serve about 450 families every month. It's about 1,200 people. And the Meals on Wheels is about 600 clients a week, and meal sites are growing again since COVID. They were closed down for COVID. We had 5. We're back to 2, and they see 50, 60 people every day. They actually have an activity from 10:30 to 11:30. I'll give a little plug for the meal sites. And from 11:30 to 12:30, they serve a hot lunch. And you just have to be 60 years old and live in Miami-Dade County, and it's a great place, not just for food, but for seniors, for socialization. There's not an income level there. So even, your grandpa could really benefit from something like that. So that's who we serve at the food bank. People come in and shop. It's a choice food bank, so you have to be a little bit mobile to come to me.
I'm Rachel Unger, and I am a volunteer with Food Rescue US South Florida. We are an app-based service where you can actually connect the local donor, which is a grocery store, a restaurant, or a hotel, with a receiving agency. So the main receiving agencies, we have a bunch: Lotus House, Christie House, the Village Frege. We actually rescue often and bring to Buddy System MIA as one of our stops along our way. And we serve Little Haiti, Little Havana, Overtown, Liberty City. Pretty much we run the gamut. And annually, this past year, we rescued over 3,000 times with a total of 4.5 million pounds of edible food, which, according to the USDA, could serve 3.9 million people.
Wow. Hello? Oh, all right. Hi, my name is John Delgado. I am the statewide inventory operations manager for Farm Share Food Bank. We feed the whole entire state, fed over 20 million families, and we brought in over 120 million pounds of food in a year. Just in Dade County, we feed over 3 million families in Dade County. And throughout, I say, because we do Dade, everything south, we talk about South Florida, we're looking close to, I think it's a number, about almost 8 million families with the 3 counties, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County.
Wow, the reach that the people on this panel have is quite impressive. Thanks for everything that you all do. So you guys interact with many, many different communities across South Florida. Can you talk about what you think some of the root causes of food insecurity are, and if they're preventable or solvable?
Are we going down the line?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. As we've all learned, there's not a lack of food, it's just a lack of food access. So all of us here are doing what we can to extend the access. But what we've learned is that having no, sorry, you want to go ahead?
Well, I would say that food insecurity is tied very much to jobs, and especially here in the state of Florida. And it's also now has, in the last few years, become tied to housing, because those are our 2 biggest problems, and especially now housing. Every single day, somebody comes walking into the food bank and says to me, this happened this week, I'm 92 years old. My wife has just had an operation, she's 88. They gave us 3 months to leave. We need to find another place to live. Okay, how much could you afford? And there's nothing in that price range. And so I think that's what's driving food insecurity. A lot of people come into the food bank and they don't really understand what food insecurity is. And when I talk to like high school students, I'm in the schools a lot talking to kids, and I always ask them, you know, are you ever hungry? And of course everybody is. I was hungry right before I came here. But I said, well, my first year at the food bank, someone called me and she said, you know, I'm wondering if I could come in. I'm not working right now. I just had a baby, but my husband has a job. Would we still be eligible? And I said, of course. And then she, please come in tomorrow. And then she started to cry. And I said, why are you crying? She said, you know, I'm crying because my daughter just asked me to make a baked potato. And I don't have a baked potato. And I don't have money to go buy a baked potato. And that's food insufficiency. That's not hunger. And that's what we deal with, you know, on a daily basis.
Yeah, I would love to also add, which is a similar kind of conversation. I think that there is a lack of education about what food security actually looks like and what it is. So often when I do an education piece surrounding what Food Rescue does, I ask the question also, you know, when you got your last meal, where did you get it from? And Uber Eats. I ran to the grocery store and just grabbed, you know, whatever sub I wanted or sandwich. And when we think about lack of ability to get yourself to an actual space that you could grocery shop, we're considering these spaces food deserts and lack of food in places where there is no affordable housing, where people do not have cars, causes just systemic, you know, pile on of an inability to be able to get food. So for me, I feel like COVID has lended a huge piece to that. I volunteered with Food Rescue well before the COVID pandemic hit us. And I have just seen so many more people attending our food distributions and needing food.
Well, what I've seen also in root cause of insecurity, food insecurity, jobs, of course, unemployment, it's one. Jobs not paying sufficient amount of money. You got people who got jobs, can't afford to eat, and they got jobs. So this is facts. You have also people who, again, face of hunger is change, people who get discriminated probably because of the way they look. Oh, you got a nice car, you got this, and don't know that your next door neighbor with a nice car is going hungry. Insecure, can't get everything they need. Medication goes up price, you got to make a choice because now it's more expensive. So now I have to figure out, do I buy this or do I save money for medication? Do I pay for gas? As we see, gas prices are going up. So just living in the world we're living in right now, everything's going up except the pay of jobs. That's one of the things. And unemployment, jobs out there. Education, you got to look at it also. If you don't have a certain education, we do see that our government is changing, and there are jobs out there who are now changing that you have to have a bachelor's degree to do this job, and you got people who don't have a degree, can do the job. Now they're starting to allow that. So hopefully changes like that does help, and this is something that's going to need help from everywhere.
Great. Rachel, is there anything you wanted to add?
You know, everyone really said all the things that I see every day. We've been doing a lot of data collection at our Coconut Grove fridge. And what we're learning is that so many people actually identify as food insecure, but don't seek a food bank or don't know that they could access so much of the resources that are available to them. So bridging that gap is, you know, a big part of ending food insecurity, just getting people the food that already exists.
That makes sense. So there's often a stigma around seeking food assistance. How can we make it easier for people to access these resources without feeling shame or embarrassment?
I could tell you what we've been dealing, because we deal with this also. I think all of us do when we feed people. People are embarrassed. We've learned that we're starting to do deliveries to people, straight deliveries. We're looking, actually, there's an organization up in Mountain County that they're doing a fantastic job in case management, but for grocery shopping. And what I mean is they come in and people seek health, and what they do is they have a store. the people who are they case managed can go shop for free. They're involved in this program. So this is also another thing, and they do by appointment. So there are a lot of creative ways, but so far that I know of, and I'm here also to catch any new ideas, but delivery and case management, grocery stores, so far I've seen myself that's been pretty good, and that's the best that I've seen so far.
So Food Rescue does monthly food distributions where we will partner with multiple organizations and actually open like a farmer's market style situation. We set up, all of the shares will be allocated. So the shares are, you go online, you claim a rescue. I actually began as a volunteer claiming the Miami Beach Whole Foods, and I rescue from Whole Foods every Sunday with my family who are in the audience. They help me out a lot. And we will take all of the shares from Trader Joe's, from Whole Foods, from Plum Market, which is one of our new organizations. We will bring them all to a specific location. So it could be the Village Freege, it could be the Gibson Park, wherever it is that we've decided that it's, we do some at Central Mater Academy, and we make it a shopping experience. We give out reusable bags, and you know, it's relationship building. So since we've started these distributions, we have people that come often and look forward to our next distribution, and we're interacting. We're all human beings, and we all have needs that we need to have met, and this is just one of the pieces that you can do in a beautiful way. So.
Speaking of relationship building, for our homebound food access program, we actually pair someone who has trouble leaving their home, either has no car, can't access a grocery store or a food bank on their own, or has some kind of medical thing going on. We pair them with a volunteer, and that volunteer accesses all of the food pantries, our distribution, other distributions. That way they get to know each other, and actually a lot of it has been really beautiful intergenerational relationship building. So people are getting fresh, healthy food while also having conversations with other people, and don't really feel like they're receiving a service, like receiving food.
Bonnie, did you want to add anything?
Not much. It is hard for people, especially younger people, to come to the food bank. Older people, they don't mind so much. It's an adventure. Some of them, it's their day out, you know, and they're, you know, happy to come and see what's new, and they linger and talk to the staff, and, you know, they enjoy it. But it's hard for young people, and, you know, for us, it's just attitude. We just try and make people really welcome. We thank them for being here. I was walking around with, although she's older, my favorite client, don't tell everybody, but she's a 96, she'll be 96-year-old Holocaust survivor, and she says to, you know, I always feel kind of ashamed to come here, and I said, you're a treasure, you know, we're so happy to have you here, and thank you for being here. And so it's just a matter of how you treat people, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. With the organizations that you all work in, how can you ensure that these food assistance programs are designed in a way that empowers people versus creates a dependency?
Well, with us, it's a case-by-case assessment with everyone that you meet. We do sign, as we do give out food for programs. There are programs like the TFAP program, emergency program. You have to go through a checklist in order to qualify to get the food. So that's one, but you do have, like I said, it's case-by-case basis. You got someone who might be going through something maybe for a week or 2 weeks and, you know, need help, and then, you know, they go, and then, I mean, we've seen even success stories of a family mother with a child, a children, single mom, and she was making money, she was working, and going through the process of getting food and trying to make it. And then suddenly we didn't see her. Then we get a big donation to the food bank. Come to find out, she was opening a business, trying to get things going, and was trying to find help while she get herself situated. it helped her get her foot, and then she went and gave back. So, you know, there are, like I said, case by case, and everyone has an assessment you have to do.
That's my favorite thing, John, when the client comes back with a donation and thanks you. Even when it's sometimes people just come like with a Publix gift card and say, you know, I don't have a lot to give back, but here's $20 because the way you helped me, I want to help somebody else.
Yes.
So I would maybe just reframe the language of the question and say that until there are systemic changes in Miami-Dade County and larger cities, I think that our agency is, well, let me say the agency that I work with, the Food Rescue, we are currently meeting a need, but I wouldn't use the language of creating dependency. I would say more solving a problem that is happening right now. And as you've both shared, people ebb and flow out of this scenario. I think that where we are helping, it's a larger, deeper issue that will need elected officials and policy changes to be put in place. You know, we need more grocery stores and food deserts. We need more healthy food options for people that live in lower socioeconomic neighborhoods. There's too much of a divide right now.
Yeah, we see that a lot too. Folks in our programs, typically, food insecurity is just like the tip of the iceberg. They're dealing with medical debt. They are about to be homeless. They have to choose what their limited funds are going to. So we've sort of developed a resource linking program with other community partners. When we hear through case management that someone is needing some immigration help or some housing resources, we are able to send them to partners or refer them. And that way they are getting some kind of systemic support to maybe one day need a little bit less help or no help or something like that.
And we are a division of Jewish Community Services, so we meet with every new person and we review everybody every year, and we try and see what else they need. It's a really important piece of what we do. We have a division called Shalom Bayit, which is for women and children who are victims of domestic abuse. If somebody comes in for the first time and I see that they need that program, I can refer them there. We have job help. We have a resume writer through the Greater Miami Jewish Federation. We have a great program, JWorks, JobWorks, that helps people find jobs. So we do try and find out what else do they need, whether it's case management, a social worker, a job, and do try and move them forward and not become dependent. Now, the older people, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Great. So from a holistic perspective, what are the solutions to food? What solutions to food insecurity are working, and what does success look like for your organizations?
Well, food insecurity solutions. One, we do see the community distributions are great and help out because we're going to the people who can't come to get food. So we're going right in food deserts. We're going into areas that people call dangerous. And we all have stories, and I can tell you, there's been telling you, even when you're doing something good, bad things happen. I mean, we've been at distributions and shootouts broke out at a distribution, and we're grabbing everybody and everything and waiting, and then when it was all over, we're thinking everyone's going to leave. No, people got back in line. People want to keep eating, and I got to eat. So we've been through this, and we can tell you plenty of stories. Been to areas feeding people, and people are so desperate that when we were leaving, we had empty bags in a bin. And one person went to get a bag, and we gave one, and then two, and then we said, well, we got to stop. Then suddenly we got jumped and pushed into the bins for empty bags. That's how desperate it is. So that's one. Another thing is we like to educate people on how to make food last longer. And just, I'm sorry, share just a couple. I mean, and I like to share it to teach everybody all the time. Like bread. How do you make bread last longer? Put a stick of celery in the bread bag, and the bread lasts longer. Same thing with bananas. Wash bananas because there's a ripening chemical that's on the banana to keep it getting ripe. Wash it off, and then get a tape or a moist rag, and where it connects to the bananas, wrap it up. The banana lasts longer, weeks longer. Tomatoes, the top where it plugs into the vine, put a piece of tape there, the tomato can last up to 2-3 weeks. Same thing with potatoes, put it with apples. They last longer. Onions, put it in stockings. Put it in pantyhose, put it inside, tie each one. It would last, and the onion would not mold. And you just cut as you go along. So these are things and stuff that I said that we could teach each other on how not, because you can get a lot of food today and eat well today. And in 2-3 days, you have a lot of food there, but it goes bad. So let's try not just give you food. Let's try to stretch it out so you can eat food longer. So this is part of things we can do to teach each other. I passed it out. Hopefully you'll pass on to someone else and keep going. I'm working on myself, either a video or put it on our website so that people can go there and look up different ways how to salvage your food to make it longer.
Thank you. That was great.
That was incredible knowledge. I'm going to use a lot of that. Thank you. I would say, yeah, exactly. I was like, is there actually a link to that? Because otherwise we should create one. Yes. I would say that one of the things that, to add on to this is that a lot of the labels on your food that tells you when you can eat by date and when it needs to be sold by are not accurate. Things can last well longer. I wish I could call Max up to give you, my son, he just did like a whole speech and debate thing about this where he knew his statistics. My brain doesn't work that well, but what I will tell you is that a lot of the food that we rescue is deemed unsellable due to the date on the label. But we all know that when you go into your refrigerator and you open up the drawer, the spinach has expired, but has it expired? It hasn't. So it is one of the ways that you can make food last longer. You know, smell the food, look at the food, cook the food, taste the food, and for the most part, we have a lot of food that we can still get out to people that should not be thrown away. And I want to add on just one little thing that is very enticing to me about food rescue. Not only are we actually getting food to people, but we are also keeping food from landfills, which is a huge component of adding to climate change. It was actually just deemed the number one food waste in general, like all that's involved with it, like the trucks, the planes, getting every bit of food from, the crops to getting it through the grocery store has been deemed the number one contributor to climate change right now. So all of us, just even by being here tonight and listening to those let's get our food to last longer facts, keeps food from landfills. And that's very important to all of us.
I want to add, I'm sorry, I have to add this.
We're good together.
Yeah, I have to add this because this is something I think people don't understand and know. The problem we have with the waste that are going to from the farm fields is because our policy, our food policy need to be changed. And why I say this is because certain foods only can make it to the market because they have to meet certain standards. They have to look a certain way, have to have certain. Now, all the other stuff, which you call ugly fruits or ugly produce, goes in the garbage, not because it's bad, just it doesn't look well. So I say, okay, so we wasted the food. What can we do? I always say, start a second market. Start a grocery store in these food deserts with second-grade food or called ugly food. It's going to be super cheap. Why? Because the farmers are throwing it away. So guess what? If you go to a farm and you tell a farmer, listen, I'll get that food you're going in the garbage and I'll give you 10%, 20% or whatever on that, and you get a committee of stores to start serving this, farmers will give it to you. You just open a new market. You just save food from going to the waste. You're giving food that's expensive for certain people. Now it's cheaper and affordable. All I see is a win-win. I don't understand why hasn't anyone, I'm sorry, seen that, but I guess because I'm always in farm fields and I see the waste and I know what's going on. Till our food policy starts changing on some of these standards, that's going to keep staying in the fields. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just going to add too, if you can shop locally, that's another thing that can really help, because a lot of the food waste comes from when the farmers ship the food to the grocery stores. But if you're going direct to the farmer, there's less damage to the food and things like that. So you can definitely, cheaper, and you know, you're buying locally. So it's always nice to support communities that you're living in. Do you guys have any other things to add?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I have some stuff. Policy is a major one, but also, you know, until there are accessible grocery stores, there's easy and accessible transportation that people can take, until there is equitable pay, and especially things like reparations, or people who are so far behind already are not able to catch up. Until those things are happening, food insecurity is going to be a problem. And it's like small wins are what is getting Buddy System through. A fridge that's full is immediately empty. Adding food rescues to our day-to-day, like new food rescues along with Food Rescue US, those things are a solution, but they're not the solution.
So I have one more question to ask, and then I'll open it up to the audience. What can individuals here in the audience do to help your organization? Can they volunteer? Can they donate money, time? What type of actions have the most impact for your organizations?
Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah. No, but honestly, I actually have some pamphlets in the back, or little cards. You all can actually become volunteers. And actually, let's just do a little survey of the audience. Who is a food rescue volunteer in the audience already? So if you look around, you can speak to any one of the people that are here. They are already committed to our organization. It's really simple to do. You just have to download an app onto your phone, or do it on your computer, or get in touch with me. I put you in touch with our director, Ellen Bowen, and she can even claim the rescue for you. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible. Now, you can go in depth with our organization, where you can do the relationship building, you can go to the food rescues, you can partner with other organizations, or you can commit to adopting, you know, weekly, monthly, a rescue from a specific restaurant or a grocery store, similar to what we do. And that's your commitment. You say, I'm doing this every Sunday. It's a ritual for our family, like who's coming with me. And we go and we park outside of Whole Foods and we collect all of the food that they would throw away that day. So that is a way that you can directly get involved with us. And otherwise, you can always go to the Food Rescue US site, and you can also make donations. And just get involved, get on our mailing list, get our newsletters, all that kind of good stuff.
And Rachel, is your organization, I know it's Food Rescue US, is it across the entire United States?
So it's in multiple cities. It is a national organization. We are the South Florida representatives here. And Ellen actually started the division down here, however you would like to say that, in her retirement. Now we have over 400 volunteers, and we are a completely volunteer-based organization. So, meaning that this only runs because people are passionate about it and want to volunteer and commit. So I think, does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Well, I do the same thing with us in the food bank. We definitely need volunteers, donations, of course. But volunteers, to me, this is my personal, definitely we need a lot of volunteers. And what I mean by that is, right now I'm trying to create, which I'm created already, is food rescue. But I'm involved with farmers every day around the state. I talk to them every day, and that's a group of people who doesn't trust. I'm being straight up. Because everyone comes to them, want, and they work 24 hours, They don't make as much money as you think they do. Now, they have fields with food that are sitting out there who they're not going to go through it. It goes plowed under whatever. But they're willing to get volunteers to come and glean the fields, to go out there. I have farmers who will give me permission. Yes, Publix is one. The vice president, I just finished talking to him. He's giving me all the fields in the state of Florida that after they go through it, I could come in there with bins, trucks, we have all that, volunteers to go through, glean the field, and then we take it and we pack it and we give it to the community. So one thing we do need, that it keeps in these fields, the food goes to waste, not only because it's just, there's not enough people to go get it. That's the big problem. So if you want to look at the big picture, what we need help on, there it is right there.
So I'll leave you the information here about some of the things we're collecting. One thing that's a little different that we offer is we offer a lot of community service to students. You can, at 11 years old, you can be dropped off, you can do a summer internship. We encourage kids to do projects. Really a big part of what we do is educating our students to know that they can help other children their own age in their own community. So just this week we had a group come in and make baskets of toiletries, because you know you can't buy those things with your food stamps. Shampoo is a luxury. Toilet paper is a luxury. So we encourage kids collect shampoo and body wash and those kind of things and make it into baskets. We like to make it pretty from the Dollar Tree. It makes people feel really good. Back to that first question, you know, not be embarrassed. You could hand them a shampoo, but when you put it with a loofah and then some soap and tie a ribbon around it and have a kid have a wonderful day, it really makes a whole difference. We do packages. If you ask me what does a senior want, I say, well, they love breakfast. You know, they don't need new clothes or jewelry, but if you make a breakfast basket for a senior, and kids can do that at home and document their time and get community service hours, and we feel that part of the solution is educating the next generation and teaching these kids that you just a kid. And I always tell kids, you know, our kids day school, they give tzedakah every day. They put a quarter in a tin can, and I say, is tzedakah just a quarter? Is it just money? They all say yes, and I say no. It's a bag of rice. It's a can of beans. It's what you can share from your house to give to another student. And if you were on a field trip and had a cheese sandwich and she did not have a sandwich, would you give her half? And they always say yes, because you would. And that's what we do. We ask the children to share. So I feel that's a part of our solution too.
Yeah, we have so many volunteer opportunities. We love to ask volunteers actually what they want to do for us. Some options are simply cleaning a fridge. We have 10 all over Miami-Dade. Like, what is your neighborhood? Do you want to clean the community fridge in your neighborhood? You could also, you know, scope for a new fridge location, for a new food rescue location. We have a WhatsApp group chat, actually, with about 200 volunteers. They kind of get first dibs on food pickups or very immediate things that are happening. The link to that is actually through our website, buddysystemmia.com. We also are very active on Instagram, posting the same last-minute food rescues. For our homebound food access program, we have a monthly distribution at our food pantry where you can sign up to be someone's buddy and you could bring them food at least once a month. We have folks that come once a month to our food pantry to donate, but also go to other food pantries for their buddy. And yeah, donations are also helpful. Food donations, monetary donations.
I would like to say that one thing that I think that we do very well is the social media aspect, cross-tagging each other. You know, I became aware of buddy systems through food rescue, tagging them, and then we made it one of our drop-off points. And similarly with your WhatsApp chat, we have a large South Florida group that we can email back and forth with. And I had observed that when the Gibson Park, the Overtown Optimist fridge was put in, when I would go on Sundays to drop off like the prepared foods that I had gotten from Whole Foods, when my car would come around the corner, I would notice that people were starting to recognize me. And I was like, we need to fill this fridge more often. So just kind of being observant of what you are doing, what you are sharing, what you are delivering, and making those adjustments. And Rachel, I appreciate what you said about finding other food rescue agencies for us to rescue from. Like, that's great, and I think we do very great social media shares that way. I learn a lot from that.
I gotta go on what you said about the youth, the kids. I led a pilot program in Palm Beach County dealing with schools. And did you see how the cigarette, tobacco business went down when they started educating the kids about how bad smoking is? That same power, it could be used to teach our kids on how to share, how to eat proper, how to grow their own food, all of that. We know it works. Proof of the fact is, when we did a pilot program in Palm Beach County, we went to the schools and said we want to help out all the kids that are on free lunch. So they said, okay, what do you want to do? I said, during the summer, when they're off in summer, during the summer, Christmas, these long vacations where, some kids don't eat unless they go to school and they go home hungry. So what happens to them when the school's out? They're hungry. So we said, let's bring food to them during this time. Let's do it in a safe space. So we did it in areas like a library or police stations where they can go where they're not seen to pick up food and eat. Well, we did it for a year. When we came back, the amazing stuff we found out was the kids that was involved, grades went up because they're not hungry in school waiting for lunch. The bullying and the attitude of some of the kids went away. I mean, it was totally new people. Everything's changed. That blew our mind that we all talk about this, but when you do it and you see it, that blows your mind and says, okay, so we need to feed our young generation because they're the new generation come up. We need them to be smarter to come up with solutions, so we need to invest in them. We need to educate them. They're going to make the change. All we can do is give them the tools and the knowledge so they can make that change. So when we get to the situation they're running things, we can sit back and see things better and know that we helped to be part, because that's what's needed. Educate our youth, and I guarantee you, we will see a difference.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to the audience if you all have any questions. Yep.
Okay, so we live in the country of the super duper double-decker burger with shake and everything big, and when you go order something, they even push for you to get the largest because you're going to save money on it. So we talk about policy and education, but I think it's also part of the culture of this country. And I don't know, because this is, for the most part, you're all direct service. But I don't know if there can be an initiative where you all come as a united bloc with the help of some local politicians to escalate that and to bring that change, not only in policy, but in change of culture, and start sending the message that no, we don't need to slurp 4,500 calories in an extra large milkshake that, it ends on the trash can for the most part. So, I mean, I don't know how can that be accomplished, but it has to come also, it has to be tackled from above down.
I can jump in. I totally see your point, and we do have quite a bit of like a consumer society when it comes to fast food and things like that. I will also say that sometimes that like 4,300 calorie drink is the only guaranteed like large calorie source for some people who can't afford a salad or like to run to the grocery store, who can't get to a grocery store. So it is a balance for sure of policy and fast food management, but there is definitely some like give and take, in my opinion.
So I think speaking to the way this event started tonight, we started with a meditation, which is, getting our minds in the right headspace for thinking about what we were about to do. And it was very relatable because it was having to do with food as well, and something that we do to serve ourselves food. And so I think that what you're mentioning, you kind of already sort of shared like the whole concept about it. It's really mindset. So the more that my family and I have volunteered with Food Rescue, the more we've seen that large amount of waste, we've shifted how we interact with food in our own home. So I think that it comes from like that being a privilege that we're allowed to have, and putting it into place. But I think when we want to talk about it going like big time, that would be a cultural shift. So speaking more education, more options, because there's a lack of these choices when you're talking about going to a place where it is like a gluttonous eating environment. That's something that we don't always need to make the choice to do that, but I think that comes from mindset.
Do you mean like a number or?
Well, if you have an estimate of, I don't know, if you would say that, just even thinking about just Miami-Dade, if you would say perhaps that 20% of the population suffers, lives with food insecurity, how much of that are you able to reach? And what would enable you to expand your services to reach, I'm just wondering what the unmet need is, how big that is. I know the whole thing is big, but really who's left out?
I don't know if I have a direct answer to that, but I will just talk about something that maybe we haven't exactly directly mentioned that we may all be assuming that you know. When we deliver our food, we deliver them to receiving agencies. The receiving agency is, I could tell you, I'll look at my list because I don't want to leave anybody out. We have 65 local shelters that we bring our food to. We bring them to soup kitchens like Christie House. We go to the Buddy System community fridges. We go to the Village Frige, which has just actually been evicted from its food pantry and is now still doing distributions out of Roots, which is just like 2 doors down, but that's an unmet need. We go to Centro Mater Child Care, Camilla's House, Chapman Partnership, the Coconut Grove Crisis Food Pantry, Miami Rescue Mission, and Lotus House. So I would say, if anything that we haven't really necessarily directly mentioned, are the receiving agencies that are meeting, which I would say is probably the largest issue, which would be the unhoused population and people that are housing insecure also, which they don't know where they're going to be sleeping that evening. They're surfing from place to place or finding, that location that they can stay for a few evenings. And I guess if you're asking, I think it really goes into the school system where we're attempting to actually now start sharing tables through Miami-Dade County Public Schools, where the food within Miami-Dade County Public School would be shared, and particularly in those Title I schools where more than 90% of the population is on free and reduced lunch. We would want to meet that goal also. So we're in the works to do that.
And I think we all just chase the need.
Yeah.
It comes to us. When COVID started, we started doing outside food distributions. We work with a farm share all the time, and they bring food. We just increased from 400 cars to 500 cars, and you might think that's counterintuitive. Things are getting better, but even though COVID's getting better, prices got higher, and so we were seeing 400 cars, and now we're seeing 500 plus cars on a Friday when we work together with Farm Share. We ran out of food. We work with Farm Share for Thanksgiving with Joshua's Heart, and we ran out of food. The line wraps around the block. So what's the need? It's hard for us as local agencies to tell, but I think we all work together. After a food distribution, I'll stop at the Little Haiti Community Fridge and bring leftover vegetables. Rachel's kids did a food drive for my food distribution. We work with Farm Share. I think we all look to each other and see where the niche is and say, we all try and help each other solve that problem.
I have a question.
You're allowed.
Tell us.
So sorry. I'm going to trump all of you. Is there a statistic? I know because I work a lot with City Harvest in New York, so we would say, 1 in 6 children are food insecure. And we also talk about the fact that $1 could help feed one family for one day thanks to the rescue efforts of City Harvest. Do you have those statistics at all?
I don't have it on me, but we do have statistics on what we're looking at. And one thing, it's so funny you say that, I work a lot with a lot of the senators and government representatives, and they all say that they want to see how the economy is. Just look at the lines at food distributions. That's facts, not numbers that you see on TV. Look what's out in the streets. A lot of the numbers cut out a lot of groups. Like specifically, did you know we do this thing called guerrilla outreach? You have no clue about this. I know you don't. We go 1, 2 in the morning to the Everglades, beat the horn, and let the peoples come out the bushes to feed them. Did you know that? They're out there living in shanty shacks, people, families. And I'll tell you stories that will blow your mind how they're living, how they have to protect their kids from the snakes not to eat them. This is facts. I sit there and look at them, and I cry and go home when I look at my family, them not knowing they have a roof over their head. They're being fed. And you got people who, some are probably undocumented, but cannot access any services. There's still people, they're still human, they're still hungry. Those statistics are nowhere to be found.
I have some statistics if you want me to share. I came prepared, so bear with me. 9.1% of the Miami-Dade County population is food insecure, with 242,000 people not knowing from where they will get their next meal. 100% of the food insecure population in Miami-Dade County qualify based on income for SNAP, which is the food stamps and other federal nutrition programs, while 0% do not and often must rely on emergency food assistance programs and need better wages. $3.45 is the average price per meal in Miami-Dade County. The food budget shortfall in Miami-Dade County per person per week is $19.45, with a total shortfall for $143 million or 42 million meals a year. 20% of children in Miami-Dade County are food insecure, meaning 110,000 children go to bed hungry.
That statistic is the one. The first statistic, I think that 1.9 is 9.1. I think is low because I think it's only including Miami-Dade, that, right? So I think that particular statistic might be too small of the Miami-Dade location and not greater Miami-Dade. So that last statistic that you included, I think, which was 20%. I think that sounds a bit more accurate too. So 20% of the population.
I always think, though, in all honesty, that it is good to say that out loud in a forum like this, because it's hard for people who are not in the food industry like you are to give and help others really grasp the numbers. So that's why I asked the question, and thank you so much for sharing that, because it really brings home the high statistic and it makes it more real. And thank you so much for bringing that. That was really great.
Just to jump in real quick, as a praxis, I tend to think that numbers like that are on the much lower side. And as someone who works in an organization whose services are largely anonymous, we actually are unable to track all of the people who access a fridge. People, we don't have cameras, we don't have a counter, we pride ourselves on not asking too many questions so that people feel comfortable coming, and that's what, reporting is pretty hard that way. So I tend to imagine that those numbers are much lower than what we're actually having.
Natalie, do you want to chime in? Yeah.
I feel like when Natil was asking her question originally, one of the things that she alluded to that I don't feel like we've gotten an answer to. So you guys are 4 organizations, and there are many more organizations that are trying to reach out and make a difference as well. Is there a coalition of organizations such as yourselves that are working together with any government agencies to try to make systemic change, or is everybody just really focused on doing the work and getting out in the community?
I mean, I think that's actually a really smart idea. I'm not sure if there is something like that that does exist in Miami-Dade County. It's something, I haven't actually sort of even really thought of it from that lens, but it's a good thinking piece.
I feel like one of the things that happens when people are in a position of power and in charge is they come up with ideas they think are good without really talking to the people who have their boots on the ground and are working with the people who actually need the services or helping people with the services. So I just didn't know if you're aware or involved in that.
Well, I think Farm Share is definitely at the forefront of that. I think we also have, Feeding America, Feeding South Florida is also involved politically. So those 2 organizations are the big guns of working with the politicians in Florida.
I have to agree with you. There are organizations out there, Hunger Coalition, Belgrade Initiative. There are all other organizations around other counties that are doing that. We look at it also with our partners and everything like that. We're a coalition ourselves out in the community together. There's over 2,000 of us all together. We do work, and the thing what made us successful is because every year we are in Tallahassee with the governors, with the senators. I mean, all of them. We know each other, know them very well. Walk into the office, they know, and they believe in this cause so much that actually I've walked into office and they've stopped meetings just to come and say, hey, what you need. So that's how our all of us credibility have grown in our government. Even our mayor here, Kava, actually, I've worked with her in initiatives that if you want to talk about doing something with hunger, that's the number 1 person to talk to. That is the number. I've done programs in school that we have competitions in schools collecting food, 8 schools to compete to see who brings the most. And the teachers took it and made a curriculum out of it. And the curriculum was to talk about hunger, everything we're talking. And they do essays on this. And then what happens is at the end when they give awards out, then the schools come, we give them a trophy for who brought in the most donations. And then they get to speak about what their essays and everything is out there. So yes, there are people who are right now, we're working with people. We've actually helped make changes. That's why I also tell people I'm involved. I'm also FFVA, Fresh Fruits from Florida member, which I always tell people get involved in stuff like that because I'm sitting at the table with everybody that produces food. And I can have the conversation with them. Why are we doing this? Because sometimes you might not have the answer. So I go to the farmer and the farmer tells me why. And then we try to come up with a better solution on how to do this because the farmer's on one side, we're on the other side. Cause and effect, whatever effects, they don't know. So sitting there talking, communication with the people is very, very important. Very important.
There's also a coalition through the Florida Health Department that is focused on like health services, not just food security. I know that they meet maybe monthly. And I recently was in a meeting with a bunch of Alapato organizers. We have a community fridge at the Alapato YMCA. So it's groups of people doing similar work, getting involved with each other so that we can be stronger when we approach things like policy.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to take one more question and then wrap it up in the interest of time. Do you want to go? Well, you first, because she's been waving at me also.
I support a charitable organization in Israel that reaches out to restaurants and caterers and events. This organization has volunteers that go in after an event, whatever the event is, and they package the remaining food. They have air-conditioned trucks, so the amount of food that's wasted in America from restaurants and caterers. Now, I do believe that there's a major organization of restaurant associates that different restaurants participate in or are involved in. This would be a source of delicious food, healthy food, fresh food that could be distributed by volunteers, and this organization, the money goes to buy refrigerated trucks.
So I would love to welcome you to be our newest rescuer from Food Rescue US, because that's exactly what we do. We rescue from the fountain blue. We rescue from
You know, I'm about to say that if they gave a tax incentive to the restaurant and say, you know, your staff spends one extra hour to package this food and we'll give you
right.
a tax incentive, it doesn't have to.
It's a game changer. So I will tell you that in 2019, this is you like statistics, right? There was over 5.5 million pounds of usable food was rescued, with 90,000 pounds rescued from last year's Formula One Grand Prix at Hard Rock Stadium by Food Rescue US. So we go in and we actually do bring the tins and we package up all of the food, and we have a refrigerated truck that Miami Rescue Mission helps us drive, and we go to you rescue from Red Steakhouse, right? Once a week, you told me.
Every Tuesday, the restaurant donates 15 meals that I give to the families from my organization.
Beautiful. And we also get from Yardbird, we get we get from Yardbird, but we also get Sunday brunch from the Red Rooster that we bring to Ronald McDonald House. So the meals are actually individually packaged, because that's the best way to get the food into that organization. So we do exactly that.
Add on that it doesn't have to be limited to people in need. Pay retail price for a delicious lunch that's prepared from some fancy caterer.
And last question.
I was going to ask about restaurant food rescue. You answered my
Oh,
question.
Okay.
hooray.
Last question.
I have a question about SNAP, because I have friends that they work with local farmers markets, and people who have SNAP can go and get food, and people don't know that they don't pay.
Like Urban Oasis.
Yes. Now, the question is, I understood that there's talk about SNAP being discontinued. That must be a huge, cause huge more work for you guys. Is this true, what I heard?
I'm not tapped into that particular statistic. What I'm aware of is that there are a lot of farmers markets in Miami-Dade County that do accept SNAP benefits, and it's actually quite well advertised when you walk up. You can see it. It's, taking the stigma away from it. You can go to Legion's Farmers Market, and all of those a bunch of those places will take SNAP benefits, and we actually need more of that. So I don't know about the discontinued. Probably if they're discontinuing it, they're naming it.
No, I'm involved. I'm on the committee dealing with the SNAP. I can tell you
There
now,
you go.
they're not going away. It's not, none of that's happening. What's happening? American Heart Society? I think it is Heart. Their association. Thank you. They're spearheading that right now. You can contact them, go to the website, you'll see everything that's on there. I'm also on that committee. What's going on is basically they're trying to add on ways to use SNAP, where to go, where they can access food. They're trying to build that. That's what's going on. But the government's not pulling back on that. They're pulling back on other programs, but definitely not on that.
So I just want to ask one more thing. It's kind of a leading question because we want to let people know that they can donate. We're going to be collecting here at the JCC. You could bring food to donate. We're going to be bringing it to the Kosher Food Bank, particularly before Passover, because that food is super expensive, and so we'd like to support that. But how can individuals, who want to donate food from their own homes? Sometimes we have things that maybe that we can't use. We bought too much. We're going away, and we don't want to leave food that's going to spoil. Can can individuals bring stuff to the fridge or other organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a donation form on our website, so you can buy a little extra at the grocery store or make sandwiches with your family or something, drop them off at any community fridge, and you could just let us know through the donation form on our website, just so we have the data about what's going on. But most fridges that are outside are 24/7, so you can really go anytime. As far as donations to our food pantry, that is an email. You can email info@buddysystemmia.com, and someone will meet you there or meet you somewhere.
And I'd love to add that we've done a lot of work with Bonnie. We've also done with Buddy Systems. We do it as a youth program where you get together your sports team at the end of the season and you put together bagged lunches. And whenever I go to the Overtown Community Refrigerator, I actually walk into the school, Frederick Douglass Elementary, and actually say to them, I've just left a bunch of bagged lunches. Can you let your after-school organization know that when they're sending people out to come grab a lunch? And it's a great way to do it. And I'd love to highlight two other organizations that I think are doing great work in Miami-Dade County, just that we work with, which is Be the Change South Florida. There's so many, but these are ones that I have personally worked with. And Green Haven Project in Overtown, which is trying to create an urban oasis, which is an actual urban farm in a massive food desert. So what you see your farmers gleaming is now in Overtown, and that's a great organization. So if you do want to get involved with some other people, and we've partnered doing food distributions there before as well.
We also we'll also send our food truck to your house, and you can do a 2 or 3 hour food collection in your neighborhood. And you want to bring more awareness, we'll make you a flyer, and then you put it on your next door neighbor app and your kid's school and your mom's Mahjong club, and you tell them all you have to do is drive by, and a lot of people make a little event.
I forgot we did that with NCJW with you.
With NCJW.
It was great.
People serve ice cream. They get their kids out there to make welcome signs and give people Hershey's Kisses. And you do a little event at your house, and it's great because one event brings another event. And then your friend says, for my birthday, what I really want is to have the food truck in my yard, and I'm going to serve cake and pizza and have all my friends over. We've got one in Golden Beach next week like that, where a little girl did it, and now Now she's in college, and the mother said, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" She said, "Well, I want the food truck to come and all my friends to bring stuff." So we're always looking for creative ways to get donations.
That's
I had an idea, what you were saying. We talk about having a collection downstairs for people who need kosher food over. People take food in their house that is not Pesach, and they give it away or they throw it away. What if instead of just having a collection of kosher food, we had a collection of food that people were eliminating from their homes?
So we are doing that. We have a flyer that says, "Clean out your cupboards before Passover and bring them to the bin at the JCC." It's here. And,
Ask and you shall receive. It's already there. Done. Good idea.
we do it again after Passover. All that matzah you bought you didn't eat, and the extra walnuts and too much cinnamon, we collect that too. So thank you for bringing that up, because there's a flyer right there.
So I just want to thank all of you for this incredibly inspiring evening, and for all of the work that you do for the community and in your organizations. And Wendy, thank you for moderating this informative discussion. And Patti, thank you for your meditation. And again, this was really a special evening. And I'm so glad that you were here to learn and enjoy it. And I hope everybody gets involved in some way if you're not already involved, and tell other people about all of this. So,
I want to make this available, right? Because we recorded this.
so thank you.
Thank you.